If you find a dead crow, look up. The body may be on the grass, but the first sign that something has changed is usually above you. One crow calls from a wire, then another answers from a roof. Within minutes, the quiet part of the street has witnesses on every edge. They are loud, they are restless, but the thing to notice is where the crows keep looking, because the dead bird may be only one piece of what they came to inspect. From the sidewalk, the scene can feel strangely familiar. A group has gathered around one of its own. The living stay near the dead. The air fills with calls. Then, after several minutes, the flock lifts away, and the lawn becomes quiet again. It is easy to give that scene a human name, a funeral. That name makes sense from where we stand. We know what it means when bodies gather around a body. We know what grief looks like in ourselves, so we reach for the closest word we have. The crows do not give us that answer so easily. What they give us is behavior. Calls, arrivals, mobbing, watching. A sudden attention to the place where one crow ended up dead. That is where the question begins. During those noisy minutes, are the living crows staying with the bird, or are they studying the scene around it? Researchers at the University of Washington tested this question with wild American crows. The setup was simple enough to picture. A preserved dead crow was placed where living crows could see it. The researchers watched from a distance and recorded what the birds did. If this were only a quiet vigil, you might expect the crows to settle close and remain still. That was not the pattern reported. The first crows gave alarm calls. Other crows arrived. The group scolded and mobbed. The sound spread through the area like a warning. The body pulled them in, but the body was not the whole story. A dead crow is evidence that something happened nearby. A hawk may have struck and moved on. A cat may still be under a parked car. A person may have handled the body. The danger may be gone, or it may be close enough to matter. For a crow, the safest response may be to pay attention before returning to normal life. So the living birds look around. They call from wires and branches. They watch the lawn, the street, the trees, the roofline, and the people close to the body. The place itself becomes part of the event. The researchers also asked a cleaner question. Would any dead bird do this? They tested other control animals too, including a dead songbird. Those did not carry the same meaning as a dead crow in the reported study. The dead crow mattered differently. It was one of their own kind, and that made the scene relevant to the living birds watching from above. If something killed a crow here, the next crow has a reason to pay attention. Then the experiment became more personal. In some trials, a person wearing a mask appeared with the dead crow. Later, the same masked face appeared again, without the body. The crows still reacted. That is the part that changes the scene. The living birds could carry part of that moment forward. A face that had been near a dead crow once could become a face worth scolding later. This fits with other work showing that crows can remember human faces linked with threat. For anyone who has been yelled at by a crow from a lamppost, that suddenly feels less random. The dead bird may be gone, the mask may come back, the crows may remember. Now the gathering starts to look different. The calls are not meaningless noise. The arrivals are not random. The birds are building a rough picture of risk. This body, this place, this possible threat, this face. That does not prove crows feel nothing when they encounter a dead crow. It also does not prove they mourn the way humans mourn. The careful answer is less dramatic than the word funeral, but it may be closer to what the crows are actually doing. The strongest evidence suggests the living crows treat a dead crow as a cue for danger. They gather, call, inspect, and learn. A later brain imaging study points in the same direction. Researchers used FDG PET imaging to examine how American crow brains responded to cues linked with a dead crow. They reported significant activity in the nidipallium caudolateral, a bird brain region associated with higher-order decision-making. That finding does not let anyone read a crow's private feelings. It does suggest that the encounter is being processed as a problem. The crow sees a dead crow, and the brain is not simply registering a shape on the ground, it is dealing with a situation that may require judgment. That is what makes the scene so strange to watch. The living crows are asking the question that matters after any sudden death in the wild. What made this place unsafe? Picture the lawn again. One black body is still in the grass. Above it, crows line the wires. One turns toward the street. Another watches a tree. Another fixes on the person standing near the sidewalk. Their calls pass across the roofs and fences, and for a few minutes the whole neighborhood is part of the evidence. Then they leave. To a person walking by later, the place may look ordinary. The body may be gone, The noise may have faded. Nothing about the grass explains why the street filled with crows that morning, but for the birds that were watching, the place may not be ordinary anymore. A single death can mark a patch of ground. A face can become suspicious. A quiet roofline can become part of a memory. So if you ever see crows gathering around one still black shape on the ground, the first thought may still be grief. That is a human way to understand a group around a body, and it is a fair place to start. But watch where the living birds look. They may be looking past the dead crow, into the street, the trees, the windows, the faces, and the places where danger could still be waiting. The warning can outlive the bird that made it.